Rodney James here for Cage Side Press. I'm joined by the UFC Women's Flyweight #1 contender who's going to be taking on Valentina Shevchenko in the co-main event at UFC 238. How does that feel? I'll never know. You're fighting for a UFC title.
It's crazy. It's still not as real as it seems, right? Like everyone says it, you talk about it, everyone always says something, but it just still doesn't feel like it's happening yet. And until we're actually in the cage together, then it'll feel like really like it's happening.
Is it always surreal, like the lead up to a fight? Like, in other words, do you start getting nervous? Do you go through the roller coaster of emotions for like the weeks leading up to? I know a lot of people do.
It's been different every time. Sometimes like I feel like I'm super emotional, and you know, we've been dealing with a couple different things. You know, first of all, moving out here, small injuries, you know, like there's a lot that goes into these camps. So I feel like every single time it's different, and this time it's like I don't feel like the title fight's around the corner like it is, but it's 2 weeks away and it's here, even though it doesn't feel like it is.
And your face is all over billboards all over town.
I know.
I saw that
crazy.
It's on the side of the UFC headquarters, the Performance Institute. And you shot a little Instagram video the other day. You were super excited. What was that like?
It's just neat, you know what I mean? Like I kind of fangirl out on myself a little bit sometimes, you know, because it's like, you know, I'm still just a Midwest girl trying to, you know, make this dream a reality, and to see sometimes, you know, my face on a billboard, or to get that interview, or to have people notice me that never noticed me before, like it's really inspiring to me, and I feel like it's more inspiring to me, and the more that I'm inspired and the happier that I am, the more that I can inspire other people.
Well, you're certainly inspiring a lot of people. Speaking of the move, what actually made you come out here? You know, you said you're from the Midwest. I know you're from Ohio. Quite a bit different than Las Vegas.
Oh my God, night and day difference. For so many reasons, from dry heat to humidity. I mean, just the overall nice weather. I mean, I would say that they don't get snow here, but the week we moved here, there was snow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So, you know, it really was a matter of moving out here for the Performance Institute, and then, you know, getting to work with Eric Nixick and Gray Maynard here at Xtreme has just been a blessing in my life. You know, it wasn't the reason I came here, but once I found out they were here and they took me in, I couldn't imagine a better place to be.
Had you dealt with them before? You knew
I've
them
known
already?
I've known Eric from before when Robert Follis was still around, and you know, Robert was extremely nice to me and extremely kind and really touched my heart. So I had a really good connection already with Xtreme. So being able to come here was a good idea.
Yeah, we really miss Robert Follis in this gym a lot, but his spirit is definitely still with us. A lot of guys like Dennis Davis, a lot of guys that go way back with Robert are still around. So
yeah, and you know, and I feel like his presence still lives on, and I'm glad that I found my way here from such an amazing person. So
yeah, is it awkward like being in here? Because there's a couple girls that I think you fought. I know Jessica Rose Clark just came over here now, and y'all fought before, or it's all just business?
It's just business, but you know, me and Jess, you know, I really like Jess, and I've always been, you know, somewhat of a fan of hers, and she's always been a fan of mine. So it's like I now get to not only I don't have to worry about fighting her or being a fan of her, I get to be a friend to her, and I think that that's cooler, you know, and I get a chance to be around her, and you know, she's really an incredible person. She's got a bright future at bantamweight.
Yeah, what's not to love? She really is a sweetheart.
Yeah.
You've had an incredible run as of late. You got 3 in a row now. Before that, it was a 4-fight skid. Now, those are some of the best girls in the world that you're fighting, and some of those were like split decisions, but it's still 4 in a row. Like, after that, you took an extended leave from the sport. Like, what was your mindset like during that time? Do you go into a depression? Do you start to think maybe you don't want to do this anymore?
Yeah, you know, I never didn't want to do this anymore, but you know, it was super depressing. You know, my father passed away. I was dealing with some personal problems, you know, and there was just a lot going on, and I didn't realize that there was so much going on outside the cage that when I went to the cage that maybe I wasn't the best fighter I could have been during those fights and during that time. So when I took the time off and, you know, got my mind right, fixed my life, and really just started focusing on what was important, and that was the training and being back at Flyweight, like things just started happening for me. You know, it seemed like that every bad day turned to every good day, you know, so I felt like no longer was I considered a loser, but I was considered a winner, and I felt like a winner, and that makes a difference. I feel like sometimes we get so low on ourselves that we just keep putting ourselves lower and lower and lower, and that makes it worse. Whereas like, I finally one day was here, and I was like, I'm sick of this. Like, I'm sick of being depressed. I'm sick of being sad. Like, I want to be happy, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna be this way. And then all of a sudden, things just really started working out that way.
What did you do to make ends meet? Because I know they still don't pay you fighters enough money, and it breaks my heart.
Oh, I was broke. I was just broke. I did. I don't know.
Did you have to just work like a regular
I
job?
mean, I was fortunate enough to have saved money. I had gotten some settlement money from when my dad had passed away. But no, I had to sell my fight gear. I've had to sell things of mine that I wish I didn't have to sell, that were of more value than what I got money-wise. But, you know, it was always about getting, you know, making sure I'm taken care of. My dad always had a saying that, like, you can always get more money in life. So I always kind of live by that, you know, like, I can't, don't miss out on an opportunity or a moment because you feel you don't have enough money. Like, you can always get more money in life.
And now you're fighting for a world title.
And here we are.
Wow.
Here we are, almost a year and a half later, fighting for a world title. And I live in Las Vegas, and I'm coached by some really incredible guys. And, you know, I'm sitting with you.
A lot of great teammates, too,
Yeah.
to train with. I mean, there's so much talent.
I'm getting a chance to finally meet some of the other guys, and they're really starting to take a liking to me. I think that sometimes people just come here to train, and they don't get like, for the people that are here all the time, like, wait a minute, is this person just going to use us? And they're finally seeing that, like, I'm staying. I'm here to be a part of the team.
That's awesome. Yeah, it is a very transient gym. Las Vegas just sort of lends itself to that, especially with the Performance Institute being close by. So yeah, we get a lot of visitors. And I wondered the same thing. So that's cool that you've found a home here, and you found a home back at your original weight class, which turns out to be a real blessing. The UFC finally, you know, unrolled that division a couple years ago, and you've thrived there. You think that's been, what else? I mean, obviously that contributed to your success. What else have you changed, like, after coming back from the skid?
My own self-belief, how I view myself, how I let others persuade my version of myself or how I view myself. I care less of what other people think, and I think that that's allowed me to be better. Because, you know, sometimes you, in this sport, you fall victim to all those shitty things that these people say, and you believe them, and in all reality, none of it's true, you know, and that's been a huge help to it. But just knowing what I'm capable of in a division that was created for me, I feel like that's the most power I need.
You're no stranger to adversity. A couple more questions here. You've been through some adversity before, early in life. I read somewhere that you were involved in a really bad accident that broke your back when you were just a girl.
Yeah, I was 16 years old when I broke my back, and, you know, that was just another crazy situation and a freak accident. You know, it was on a country road, and it was on a Sunday. It was a football Sunday. I had played some indoor soccer that day, and a drunk driver had hit me and my father when I broke down on the side of the road. So, yeah, I think adversity's always been something I've dealt with. And I think that the cool thing about it is, right, like, I always joke with my friends, I'm like, I'm the person that's supposed to go through things so I can live through it to tell other people about it.
Man.
So everybody needs that person, right? So I feel like instead of feeling sorry for myself, I'm using it as a way to, you know, give enlightenment and share. And, you know, maybe someone else might need that, you know, too.
What was the genesis of your combat sports? Did you, in other words, wrestle in high school, or how did you get into martial arts?
You know, it's crazy. I feel like martial arts found me. I had a very troubled relationship with my father growing up. We dealt with a lot of abuse. So I feel like martial arts, I never got introduced. So my dad had a speed bag growing up, but it was more or less just being familiar with physical contact. As much as that seems like, you know, I don't know if that's a correct way to put it, but I was so used to physical contact in such an abrasive way that whenever I realized that fighting was a real sport, I was like, hey, I think I could be really good at this. I've seen this stuff before. And I seen it on a scarier level. So I felt like I didn't get as scared as much. And again, I feel like I found like my calling, and I feel like I knew that this is where I could make the most impact in the world, and where I could feel the most alive too, you know, and you know, here we are so many years later, and I'm, you know, fighting for a belt, and I'm able to be a great advocate for people who suffered from abuse from family members and stuff, and be able to say, look, you don't have to let this break you, just let it make you.
Wow. And so that that was your sanctuary. That's how you were able to sort of cope and also kind of maybe stay out of the kill zone, so to speak. You know, like out of the
dark space. Most people don't know how to get themselves out of that dark space in their head and pull themselves out. Some people don't survive it. You know, unfortunately, suicide happens, or drugs, or they turn to other things. And you know, I survived those really dark mental times and pulled myself through it. And you know, I've relied on those past experiences in life and through those losses and through all of that to really just kind of build this strong foundation for myself that it's really going to be hard to take me off of it.
What a great journey, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
When it comes time for Chicago, and I thank you for your time, Miss I.
Thank you so much.
Again, that's Jessica I fighting Valentina Shevchenko in the co-main event, UFC 238. You could be looking at and new on June 6th. I'm Rodney James for Cage Side Press.